And you're following directions. Still got the drive off. Thank you, Holly. They're not the smartest.
That's right.
Oh, you hear that? A lot of churches
Hey, hey, you did pledge the, like, anytime.
About 40 different buildings that day.
Glad you did it. I mean, I'm happy with the work and stuff. But then, like, another 10 people are doing other stuff. I mean, I appreciate it. Thanks for what we did.
They were just saying you had a face for the radio. They were just saying you had a face for the radio.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday afternoon meeting of the Rotary Club of Tyler. Welcome to everyone, except for Allison Camry and John Hudl, who have been mistreating me. But it is so good to be here. Please turn your cell phones off. And Vicki, I want to thank you again. Miss Vicki Conway, ladies and gentlemen. And now to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem, here is David Jones.
Thank you, President Bill. I'm going to take the point of order and do a commercial before we do that. Next Thursday night, on the 14th, the Singing Men of East Texas will be in concert at First Baptist Church in Tyler, downtown, 7 o'clock. It's a great concert. There'll be about 65, 70 people involved. I'd like to invite you guys and your friends and your neighbors to come join us. We're going to have a great time next Thursday night at First Baptist Church, 7 o'clock. So now let's do.
I was going to tell them all about it later on.
You were?
Yes.
Well, you can second the motion. Okay? All right, let's do a pledge, please. As we face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose long stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And please remain standing as we have our invocation.
Almighty and everlasting God, you are always more ready to hear than we to pray, and to give more than we either desire or deserve. Pour upon us the abundance of your mercy, forgiving us those things of which our conscience is afraid, and giving us those good things for which we are not worthy to ask, except through the merits and mediation of Jesus Christ our Savior, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
And then introductions. Yeah, okay. Great. Well, we'll start on this half of the room, this side of the room, and move down. First of all, are there any visiting Rotarians? Visiting Rotarians? Nope. Okay. How about guests or newcomers?
This is my daughter, Leanne Hobbs, that brought me today, and I appreciate it so much. I had a medical procedure, and I couldn't drive without her. Couldn't have made it without her, and I'm just delighted to have her with me.
Welcome, Leanne. All right. Anybody at the next table? I know we've got a couple up here.
Fortunate enough today to have two guests, Chris Collum, who is a realtor at Caldwell Banker Apex, and Hillary Bryan, who's with Cardinal Financial Mortgage.
Welcome. All right. What about this table right here?
I have guests.
Who is that?
He looks familiar.
That's 47 years, and he's the head cook and auto washer at the original Weddings Inn.
All right.
Welcome. Right, what about the corner table in the back? Nope. All right.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, David. Appreciate you guys helping us out this morning. And I want to thank our greeters for the day, or I will as soon as I get my glasses on. I want to thank Kimberly Smotherman and Claudia Carroll. Two ladies, please stand up, be recognized. There we go. Now, it's trivia time. I'm going to ask a few questions here. Just a second, Paul. All right, now, who uttered these words right here? Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Who said those words? Come on up here, Dixie.
Hey, good thing. Gonna say Bill Pascal.
No. $20 from the catch. Thank you, Lisa Norton.
Sweet.
And when you get to high altitude, let's say you're way up in the mountains, way up there, which one of these things happen? A, golf balls fly further, food tastes different, you can run faster, or D, all of the above. All Glasser, Chick-fil-A, which is timely because it's time for this week in history.
I'll take that. Hard to hate Chick-fil-A. D, all of the above. Because you have thinner air and less resistance. All right, let me get my act together here. Okay, today, the 7th of October, 1949, using socialist Germans as puppets, Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin brought about the establishment of the German Democratic Republic, we called it East Germany, in the zones Germany controlled by the USSR was established after the World War II Potsdam Agreement. The German Democratic Republic was never recognized as a sovereign state by the United States. Official reunification with Germany took place on October 3rd, 1990, 4 days shy of 41 years after its establishment. On the 8th of October, in 1918, Alvin C. York, a 31-year-old Army corporal from Tennessee, while badly outnumbered, led a group of 17 men and killed 20 German soldiers and captured 132 more during the Battle of the Argonne Forest. It was the last major offensive of World War I. York was awarded the Medal of Honor and given a promotion to sergeant, become Sergeant York. Some of you may remember the movie with Gary Cooper, made in 1941, called Sergeant York. On the 9th of October, 1950, United Nations forces, led by the U.S. Army's 1st Cavalry Division, crossed the 38th parallel in Korea for the first time and began moving toward the North Korean capital, Pyongyang. The invasion opened the door for the 8th Army to capture Pyongyang 10 days later. On the 10th of October, 1973, Spiro T. Agnew became the first vice president to resign the office after pleading no contest to charges of tax evasion. He was fined $10,000, sentenced to 3 years probation, and disbarred by the Maryland State Bar. President Nixon would become the first president to resign 303 days later. On the 11th of October, 1975, guest hosted by George Carlin, with a regular cast that included Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Garrett Morris, Gilda Radner, and Jane Curtin, Saturday Night Live debuted on the NBC television network. The show is now the 13th longest running show on American television. And it continues to climb. On the 12th of October, 2000, a rubberized motorized dinghy filled with explosive blew a 40-foot hole in the starboard side of the U.S. Navy destroyer Cole as it refueled an Aden, Yemen, killing 17 sailors, injuring 38 more. Osama bin Laden's Al-Qaeda network took responsibility for the attack. And on the 13th of October, 1792, the cornerstone consisting of white gray Virginia freestone was laid at the site chosen by President George Washington for the executive mansion. Owing to the color of the stone and repairs made to the structure following damage inflicted by the British during the War of 1812, the mansion is now called the White House. It was not occupied until 1800 when John Adams and his wife Abigail moved in. Almost nothing of the original interior remains, but the exterior stone walls are 100% original. And which stone constitutes that first cornerstone that George Washington laid has been lost to history. Birthdays in the coming week: Vladimir Putin turns 68 today. Chevy Chase, speaking of him a moment ago, turns 78 tomorrow. Sigourney Weaver turns 72 tomorrow. Paul Simon turns 80 on Wednesday. And Cowboys owner Jerry Jones turns 79 also on Wednesday. And it'll be that many years until he has a champion. That's this week in history.
All right, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Let me get some stuff out of my way here. Okay, the Rotary Business Camp theme, box lunches will be from Azalea Catering on October 14th. That's where we're going to be next week. Please turn in your order form and prepay by October the 7th. The cost is $15. And Donna Croom, honor flight, DFW mail call. Donna, come on up and tell us a little bit about that, please. You didn't know I was going to have you come up here, did you? She's thinking, I hate you. I hate you.
Go ahead. If you'll notice that there are index cards at the table along with pens, and I just kind of need to ask a favor of everyone. Next Friday, we will be taking flight number 45 with Honor Flight DFW. And my veteran, who his first name is Mike, and he was in the Vietnam War, and he's a Marine. We have mail call on the way back home on the flight, and they pass out a big packet personalized to everyone with all the mail that they've received. So I've already contacted his family, and I've already received some letters from his family and stuff. But also, I get schools involved and anybody else, it would just be great. The more he has, and he knows he's appreciated. So if everyone would just take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to fill out a card to Mike and say, we thank you for your service, and then whatever else you feel the need to say. It doesn't take just very long, and then just sign it, but do personalize it and put it to Mike. And then I will pick them up after the meeting, and I'll bundle them all together, and I'll put a little note on the top to him saying that these are all from the Rotary Club of Tyler, and we're all thanking you for your service. And I'll tell you right quick too, we fly Southwest, and Southwest really gets involved with our veterans and stuff. So when we were flying out we were just left 2 weeks ago. So when we flew out then, they did the water cannon for us as we went down the runway. Well, when we were coming back out of DC, we got the same treatment again. And it's really neat because, no, we don't take up the whole plane. So there are other, flyers that come in. Well, but it's neat for them because then they get all of our activity that we're doing on the plane for our veterans. So it's almost like entertainment for the rest of the people on the plane. When we were getting off the plane the last time, my veteran and I were one of the last ones to get off. And I turned around and the stewardess was standing inside the seat, the row, and I turned around and I was telling her thank you. Well, then she was crying, and I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "I want to tell you, I have never been so moved as I was tonight." And anyway, I went over there to hug her, and she said, "This whole experience was fantastic, and I want to be on the next flight when y'all do it." And I said, "Well, we're going to be back in 2 weeks. But this is the last flight for this year, and then we'll start back up in the spring." So anyway, so I just want to thank you, everybody, for participating, and I'll tell you, it means a lot to the veteran. So, thank you.
Thank you, Donna, and this is a good thing that you and Bill are doing for these vets. We have a mixer with Tyler Young Professional Networks, October the 14th at Hobbies. $25 per person, and that gets you light appetizers and 2 drinks, okay? We will be on the patio like we were last time. Had a great time, as I recall. Sign up and prepay. World Polio Day is October the 24th, 2021. And we'll be celebrating and collecting our, quote, double up contributions, unquote, of $83 on October the 21st. This will help us meet our club polio goals, and those that contribute will become members of the District 5830 Polio Posse. Please continue your RSVs to Holly every week. It helps us communicate with the country club here so they'll know how many people are coming. And we need your volunteer hours to be sent to Holly, fax them, email them, whatever you want to do. You can even text. And next week we go to Camp V. We're not going to meet here. We go to Camp V. So don't forget. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the greatest president-elect ever. Please welcome Allison Camry.
My gosh, I don't know how to take that. He curses me at the early part of the program and he blesses me now. Our speaker for today is Neal Franklin, who is serving as Smith County Precinct 1 Commissioner. And he began service on January the 1st of 2021. He's got more than 30 years of leadership experience thanks to his time in the fire and the EMS field. He served in a diverse range of roles, including fire chief and emergency management coordinator for the city of Tyler for more than 7 years. As a general manager for the ETMC EMS, and for more than 7 years, he served all parts of around 15 counties in East Texas, and he's had the opportunity or the blessing or whatever of managing more than 500 employees. Neal was born and raised in Tyler. Both of his parents were educators here in Tyler, where he attended TISD schools. He graduated from Stephen F. Austin State University in a sort of a double area of business, and had a teaching certificate that he could always fall back on. He did that back in 1984. He and his wife, Valley, have been married for 33 years. They have 3 children, 2 grandchildren. They reside in Bullard, where they enjoy golf and spending time with their family and friends. They're members of the Emerald Bay Community Church. Neal is committed to helping Smith County region become an even greater place to live, work, and raise a family. He firmly believes in the power of public service to affect positive change in our communities, in his passion to serve and improve the lives of the citizens of Smith County. So with a lot of pleasure that I introduce to you our speaker for this afternoon, Neal Franklin.
Okay, thank y'all so much. We're going to go in a little different order. We're going to start with some courthouse news. I know a lot of people have seen us doing some courthouse things, but first I want to stop before I even get into this and tell you how much I appreciate what the Rotary clubs do, and it's so nice to see. We were talking at our table, at this group, we have the wise folks, and then we have all these young folks that want to become wise at some point in time, seeking that wisdom. So that's great. That's how you keep a club healthy, is have a mix, and this is wonderful to see. And has anybody seen this program for me yet at another meeting? Okay, y'all are the best Rotary club. Yeah, it's fantastic. So, who's married in here? Okay. Would y'all agree with me that it's unusual sometimes, interesting, being married? Yes? Across the census? Okay. We moved out to Emerald Bay about 3 years ago, and it's a retirement center, supposedly. And I haven't retired. Well, actually, I've retired twice, but it doesn't stick. So, but my wife, as people were getting a little older, And we're starting to recognize that. My wife came up with this question not too long ago, and she said, she goes, Neal, if something happened to me, would you get remarried? And that's kind of like, do I look fat in this dress? So I contemplated really quick second, and I said, absolutely not, baby. I could never replace you. I would probably just go to work, golf, and do some fishing. So then it made me think, well, I need to ask her the same question. So I said, honey, would you get remarried if, something happened to me? And she said, yeah, I'm younger than you. I have a lot of life to live. And so, yes, I would probably get remarried. And I said, oh, please tell me you would not let them play with my new golf club. And she said, oh, heavens no, he's left-handed. Okay. We're at a golf course, little golf course. All right. So courthouse, it is not on the agenda in November. It's not on the agenda in November. The courthouse is not. But we were planning on it being early on. COVID just jumped out there and stopped a lot of our plans. But I'm going to give y'all a brief rundown on this, not really detailed too much, but then I want to get to the road bond because that is on the agenda in November. Okay, this first one was a rendering, and a lot of you may have seen that. This is the decision we had to make. Where was it going to go? Y'all remember seeing pictures of the old, beautiful courthouse that they tore down? It was right in the center of Broadway. So my first thought was, I would love to see it built back there. But the reality is there were a lot of things cost, a lot of other things involved. And honestly, with all the construction going on there, it would probably drastically hurt a lot of the businesses around the square. We landed, which is the less expensive of the bunch, the east side of the square. That's where we landed. And it's less expensive, and we already own some properties there. In fact, you'll see in a minute, there are some properties when I was fire chief. I burned those buildings down when I was fire chief. And so we have those spots already, we own them. So I'm going to move on quickly. Another rendering. Here's a different view. Oh, and the ocean is not part of the deal. It's just, I don't know why they do that. But if that's the case, we own a lot of oceanfront property, which is really awesome. All right. So here it is from this view. Right now, and we'll see square footage in a minute, but what we're in right now is about 68,000 square feet, and this is over 200,000 more square feet than that. And the previous courthouse, the one that we're in now, current courthouse, was built with 2 courts in mind. 2 courts. You know how many we have now? 8 courts. Okay. So this is the main reason I like the idea of the courthouse. Safety and security. My background is in safety. So safety is what I worry about. When you walk in our courthouse, we're mixing and mingling with all groups, all groups. The difference here will be the public has access to some areas and it's all elevator driven, and the court has access, judges and staff, and then the in custody. So I'm going to go through quickly. As you see, they ride up, the in custody rides up an elevator and then gets out, so they never commingle. The thing about emergency management is no one wants to spend money on emergency management until you have an issue, and we don't want to have that issue. We had the courthouse shooting years ago, and I was on the steps about a minute after that happened with the police chief. And that happened outside, but it got me thinking, how safe is our courthouse? And I started asking people, and they said, oh my goodness, we have problems. So this is going to show the stacks. We're going to have our DA's office in there. You can see here, holding is here. One of the things too about the location, with it being on the east side, it's going to be right beside the jail. Everybody knows there's a tunnel. That's the cheapest spot for us to be for the tunnel as well. I guess less expensive, not cheap. So we're matching this. We're leaving a blank spot too as well, and we've got 12 courtrooms. And there again, you can see the travel on the elevator.
Can the blank spot be built out later?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And these are just some of the details in the courtroom, but much more space. And if y'all sat in the courtroom and if you've gone to jury, it's kind of a mess. And everybody in the jury can hear you go to the bathroom when you use those bathrooms, which is not a good thing. Okay, here is estimated, we had a study in 2000. Way back then, they said, yes, you need a new courthouse. And then they had another one in 2007, yes, you need a new courthouse. And they just kind of kicked the can down the road. We're waiting, and now we're actually coming up with our proposed design is smaller. It's 264,000 square feet, and the price tag is actually less than they projected way back then.
What is the total price?
Pardon me?
What is the total price?
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna get back with you on that. Well, this one is 125 million is what we're looking at projected, but this was done. We've been talking about this for quite some time, so it'll all be updated and we'll come back with you, Paul. Oh, and when Paul mentioned that about Saturday Night Live, that was funny back then. Saturday Night Live was funny.
Yeah, it used to be funny. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, this is property acquisition review. These, I know I've got a pointer on this. These are the buildings I've earned. I was actually on top of the annex building telling them what to do as, yeah, anyway. It's not my proudest moment as we burned down the building. But we did what we could. We saved the rest. All right, the blue is undeveloped or that, but what we own is the orange. And we purchased this now. We actually have purchased this building as well, and we're working on this building. So we almost own that whole square so far. Okay, this is where,
This is where I can.
quick video.
Well, I'm gonna do it this way.
It looked like it was about to take off.
Yeah, Wi-Fi here has much to be desired.
No, well, I've got the.
Oh, this is the road bond there.
Is that not the one you
No,
want?
that's the road bond. Well, you know what? We don't have to show the video. You know what? Back this up and get the sound on that, and then we'll just move right into the road bond. Perfect with me. The video was just gonna do a flyover, and you could really pick out your spot by the ocean, the beach and stuff. Okay.
Before you leave the courthouse,
Okay, she's working on that. So yes, before we leave the courthouse.
does it back up to the railroad track there?
Yes.
And is that railroad track defunct now?
It's not defunct, but they're working on all that at this time. Yes. Working on those plans. Because we looked at multiple locations and we asked the public what they desired. There's also, we didn't talk about on the courthouse, but adjacent, where right now we have a lot of parking for county employees adjacent to our annex building. We're going to build a parking garage there if the voters decide to do so. That way, the jury parking don't park way down the hill and walk across that track and up the hill. Again, we've had some slip and falls, trip and falls, I guess, really, there. So I'm worried about that.
Is Spring Road gonna be?
Spring will be shut down. And the neat part about the video, if I can just tell you, is we had responses on, when we sent out surveys, we had responses, a lot of responses, and they said, we want the green space out there. So where the old courthouse, or the current courthouse is now, that would all be green space. So we have a lot of opportunities, whether y'all know it or not, we have activities weekly down on the square. A lot of folks, a lot of nonprofits use it, and this will give a large green space, even all the way across where the fountains and all that are. For that, they're kind of projecting concerts and different things like that for the restaurants, and excited about that opportunity.
Had any thought been given to moving the courthouse a little further west and blocking off Broadway, so that you had a true square?
Yes, we did. We talked about that. In fact, we really wanted to put it and block off Broadway in the center, but just the construction would have been a bear. We talked to police and fire. It's going to slow that response down, but not so critically, but later it would be good because it forced people, and that's what it forced people to go around the square and go to the vendors and see them. But it just didn't quite make sense with the construction time and what it potentially could do, because it would really shut it down. Where it is on that east side, east of Spring, you'll have access to bring in all the supplies as they're building from behind and not affect the square at all. Yes?
2000, 2007, what caused it to go away in those 2 years? In 2000, said the new courthouse, 2007, was it ever put forward voted?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't want to answer that because I'm not sure. Do y'all know, Dr. Hudson? You don't think it was ever brought out? It was just told, and it probably, the sticker shock might have gotten them or something like that. I don't know for sure on that. Okay, are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, well, hold on just one second. Okay, road bond, November, you can vote on this. Essentially, this little video tells just about everything you need to know. The first one, 2017, they came up with it, you voted it in, so we're in the third year of the first phase. The court promised at that time that they would have a $45 million second phase. Well, the roads are actually going to cost us about $53 million in the second phase, but we're using reserve funds to cover that and bringing $45 million to you because the promise was made. So we're sticking with that. If you guys pass it, it's still going to be about the same price tag, $15 a year for a $200,000 home. I'm not sure if they're out there anymore, $200,000 home, all you realtors. But a $200,000 home, $15 a year, that's a pretty good bargain for some roads. And if you've driven the new roads, they're wonderful. One thing that it did do was once you get a nice road, it makes you look at your own road and you go, oh, I'm gonna call a commissioner. So they call me a lot. So that's okay though. Call me and we'll find out where it is on the plan. It's on our website as well. And it's color coded and everyone says, oh, it's easy to figure out. It's probably not that easy. So you can call me if you can't figure it out, whatever road you live on, you can call me and I will contact Road and Bridge and give you as good an answer as I can. It's fluid. So, okay.
Well. I thought it was ready.
It's like to see that.
I know. It was working.
And I appreciate you, Kathy.
Don't appreciate me too much.
You know what? Roll it and I'll just
2017, Smith County voters approved phase 1 of the Smith County Road Bond Program.
Yeah, okay. We can do
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
Good idea.
7.5 years of high school, bro.
Not
Just
taking.
the first year of the program.
You know what? I'll just talk. Turn it down, and back it up, start it, turn it down, and and let it play, and I'll just tell you. All right, it's just about 3 minutes. I'm not going to go past my time. 1 o'clock, John will be proud of me. All right. Okay, so November 2nd, this is your chance. We voted it in 2017 for the first phase, and then we said we're going to come back to you. 73% of the people voted in favor of it. We paved over 200 miles. Actually, in the first year of the road bond, we paved more miles than the 10 years prior to. So that gives you an idea of how far that can is kicked. And you can't do that because then you're playing catch up. All right, less than $15 a year for the homeowner. All right, phase 2. $45 million is the amount of the referendum. All right, we're planning on 283 miles. And it's going to be the same, about $15 a year for a $200,000 home. All right, so our total of roads that we have in the community is 1,200 miles, and we're gonna end up paving about 500 miles of that by the time we finish this second bond. Now, the other thing is we bought with cash, we bought a whole lot of new equipment. We used to just maintain the roads. Now some of our crews are getting the equipment, they can actually do some road work too. So they're actually building some roads. We still sub a lot out. Oh, this is our goal. Can you stop it just for a second there? Okay, one of the goals that I talked about when I was running for office, I told everybody I wanted to help our law enforcement, help our employees, but one of the things was on the roads, I don't like the idea of going out for bonding. We need to run our business correctly. So our goal, we started moving money over, and I didn't know it, but the judge had the same idea. So we both have been working towards moving money over to where we don't have to come back to the voter so that they can do what they need to do. And we think this second bond is going to get us that point to where we can do 50 to 100 miles a year and get back on track and still do all the maintenance because they've got the money in there to maintain. We just need some money to build new roads in there. So we're moving money from it. We were able to keep the tax rate the same. This year, we dropped a penny last year, kept it the same, 33.5. All right. That's dropped a penny. All right, here comes the precincts. My precinct is precinct 1 right there. And that's how many miles? 296. Phase 2 will be 268. Phase 1 was 55 miles. We're trying to get the main roads, that kind of thing, and the ones that are the worst. Again, it's fluid, so we do things differently. Precinct 2, that's White House area, all that, Troop Park, the east, southeast. Precinct 3 is our largest precinct. It's not the most populated, but it's the largest. They've got the most roads, 510 miles. That's all the stuff north. Then precinct 4, that's the area, it's got the downtown, north of downtown area, and then up just north of airport and all that off of 64. All right. November 2nd. 45 million. Phase 1 was 200. Phase 2 is 283. So we're just under 500 miles of the 1,200. So it's going to really give us a jump start. And if you're over 65, which hardly anybody in here is, no adjustment to your tax levy. So vote yes or no. And look at this. This is the most important thing you'll see today. Or call your county commissioner. See you November 2nd. All right. Okay, questions or is it time?
No, you got about 5 minutes.
Okay, I got 5 minutes. Questions? Okay.
Neal, will federal stimulus money be able to reduce our bond disclosure?
No, we were actually holding on. We're just kind of sitting back, watching those funds, and hoping that it would become more lenient or change, and it's kind of going the other direction. So no, it won't help in that arena, but we were able to help some with hospital things that y'all seen lately, and some of our local nursing and all that. We were able to help there. We're looking at many mental health initiatives because we have some serious issue. Yeah, other than the mental health in DC. Yes.
How much general obligation bonded debt is the county carrying right now?
Paul, don't ask me that. You know what? I'm going to get that answer and get it back to you. Yes.
So regarding the courthouse, is the location set in stone at this point? I understand at one point that beyond the tracks was kind of being.
Yes, we looked at several, but I would say, yes, this plan, and we're ready to roll this plan. We worked with a Fitzpatrick Architects. We're ready to roll it. We just have to, we're waiting, just kind of see. Our real focus is on the road bond and now, and then we'll see when we can enter that in. But yeah, it really, I think you'll see, and I was a proponent of that east side at first, but I am completely convinced now that that's the best spot for it. It just makes sense. It's right by the jail. It's just everything just makes sense. It doesn't interfere with the business of the square. It's going to give us the green space that many people want, and it's a good spot.
I assume you're going to build the courthouse in its completion prior to the raising of the
Yes.
President courthouse.
Yes, we have to have the space. In fact, y'all are familiar that we've added a new district court coming in. So that court, what we did was we were going to actually build on the 5th floor of the annex in one of these spaces that we have. We're actually doing it. We're building a small courtroom, or at least making it work there. But we're moving a family court at law over there and leaving the criminal court, the new criminal court in the courthouse. Again, for safety aspect. Yes, sir.
Any idea when this is going to go?
No, I really don't. We're just watching things because we're kind of taking the temperature of the public as we talk to people, and we mentioned it. This came out in the newspaper the other day about the courthouse, and somebody said, they called me, is it going to be on November? You know, I said, no. We're holding off. We're gonna wait and see. We want to see the road bond. We got to get that. I mean, we got to get it to y'all. Let y'all decide. Make your decision on the road bond, but that will get us to where we need to be on the roads and really move us along. Yes.
Hey, so when you talk about the cost of doing all this, I think you said previously it was $120 million, something like that, right?
Yes.
Are you guys including in that figure the cost of purchasing all this real estate that you're needing to do that? And what's that look like? What's the
Well, the purchase of the real estate. I don't have an exact count on it. It's not included in that because that bond would be coming to you after all that's done. So essentially, we'll have all that purchased, and we're using funds now, cash reserves, to make those purchases. And it's kind of terrible when someone knows what you're doing when you're purchasing, and they know that you need the entire block. It puts you in a funny place on the bargaining table, but so far everything's been, I don't say reasonable, but realistic.
Any pushback or anything from any of those people?
No, it's all worked really well. Tristan, yeah.
Yes, sir. I was going to say, with the census this past year, have y'all drafted any new district maps for the commission?
No, that's really a big deal because we've got a lot of races going on. We just last Tuesday we had a presentation about redistricting, and you saw the map a while ago. Oh, you're there. Okay, all right. You saw the map a while ago. My area, Precinct 1, the Southwest Quadrant, is the fastest growing and the most populated. So that part that swings up there by the airport that I have on 64 right in there, that portion may be given to 4. I'm not sure on that yet, to this Precinct 4, because they got to work those two out. She doesn't have as many votes as we have voters as we have in my precinct. So we've got to arrange that. So don't know yet, and I don't know if this is going to push back elections. We're just everybody's waiting with bated breath on that. Any other?
Who makes the decision on the redistricting? Who's proposing that?
Well, we've got folks in Austin that are sending stuff. They've sent stuff to the judge, and the judge was working on it the other day when I went into his office. But we'll all be looking at it, and locally, we've got a group of attorneys that help us with it. We'll actually be having court and working through some of that. And so it'll be online where you can actually watch it prime time. Yes, sir.
Once initiated, how long would we anticipate taking that courthouse project?
I think the number I heard was 2.5 years, I think. I want to make sure on that, and I'm not sure that includes demolition of the old one or not. Yes, sir.
One more thing, I remember my mother's twin sister staying in Colorado in World War II. I can remember her and my uncle talking about in 1955, when that new courthouse went up, how they hated it. Everybody else in Tyler hated it. A lot of tears were shed. I don't think a lot of tears are gonna be shed over this courthouse. I'm just saying, it looks like a nuclear 50s, what they built back in those days, you know.
And I do think just, I focus more on the safety aspect of it, but just the exterior, they're doing things to make it appear more like the older building, you know, and something. So it's something, it is something that people take pride in their facilities, in the county and city. And this is something that I do know that we can be proud of. And it needs to be a 75 to 100, year plan. All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Neal. Thank you very much. Don't run off. Don't run off, Neal. Where's the certificate?
It's up there.
It's always buried. Neal, I want to present you with this on behalf of the club. This is just something you can hang in your office. We donate a book to the Literacy Council. Sort of a thank you to all our speakers. This is very informative. Always a pleasure having you. Good to see you again.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, and so now it is time for the Ace of Diamonds. How much we got in the pot this week, JV?
$546 with 46 cards.
All right, Neal, pick a card there. Have the drawings for the club.
All right, the last 3 digits, 937.
937, who's got it? Who is today's lucky winner? Oh, Lisa, all right.
I did good, didn't I, girl?
It's very.
What'd you get? What'd you get, Lisa?
4 of spades.
4 of spades, okay. Well, guys, it's been good to see all y'all today. Thank you if you're a visitor for coming. And at this time, it is time for us to stand for 4-way test. The things we think, say, or do as Rotarians. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And we are dismissed.